Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Gen X Talk podcast. And speaking to you today is me, Mike. And with me, as always, is JB.
What up?
And his guitar.
This is it. Today we're playing a little crazy.
And also hanging out with us is Jab Shakur.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Well, I want to make it noted before we get in our topic that he said, do not play the guitar.
He didn't say don't play
I didn't
it.
say don't. He asked me, did I want him to? And I said no.
I was just fidgeting with it today. I don't know. It just felt good to hold something in my hand.
I don't know how to respond to that, actually. So, hey, we got a hell of a show for you guys today. We're going to do three guys discussing Barbie. I actually took one for the team and saw the movie, and we will talk all about that. But first and foremost, let's eat.
Let's see, man. There's not a lot going on. Yeah, there is a lot. But what I want to talk about today is the fight. Earl Spence gets knocked on his ass 3 times last week. I don't know. Do y'all keep up with boxing?
I used to.
Okay, so the two, I'm going to say the best boxers at the 147, 154 weight class, because they both moving up. They're both undefeated. They're both titles. They both, champions. They hold titles, and they were unifying the titles. And I believe to become the undisputed champion, and it's Terrence Crawford and a local guy from here, Errol Spence. Errol Spence Jr., I want to say was the favorite. If he's not the favorite, he was at least where we're located. Everyone who's listening, we're based out of the DFW Metroplex, and he's from the DFW. He's from Duncanville, so Duncanville.
DeVille.
Yeah. So anyway, he was, he was like the guy to beat, and
so feedback. Just turn it down. Turn down your volume.
that's not me.
On your phone.
I got it.
Okay.
Keep going.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So
Earl Spence.
So Earl Spence was the guy to beat. I say Crawford was the guy to beat. I'm the Crawford fan, and Crawford pretty much whipped his ass, man, from open to shut, from the second round to the stoppage of the show. It was just a one-sided event. So if y'all want to talk about that today, if that's on your phone. Oh, I'm sitting there like, yeah, this is crazy, man.
I just turned it off. Sorry.
Yeah, I was over here looking like, anyway. Yeah, somebody had the volume
voices.
up, and they were blaming me as usual, but it wasn't me.
You know you're messed up whenever we hear voices, and it ain't no big deal. At all.
But
That's where we are in this world.
yeah,
Text me.
yeah.
So,
So he got beaten anyway. If anybody wants to talk about that, a lot of people are blaming on his car wreck. He had a car wreck, maybe a few years ago, and he was thrown out of a car. So a lot lot of people are putting that. Golly, I knew he should have left that thing.
I was
y'all see that? He's hurt this guitar. I knew the moment he got it out. I said, "Here we go."
I know. I'm just gonna.
Now he's trying to cover me up.
I'm horrible.
Y'all see that? Anyway, I don't know. I'm just getting thrown off, man. Let's go to whatever.
No, you're good. So what's up with Earl Spence? So you're trying to tell us what?
I've already told us. It's over. Everybody heard. If y'all want to call in and talk about it, y'all can. If not, let's get on to this Barbie topic. Mike.
Yeah, I think everybody heard it like 3 times now because we were echoing and
yeah. I kind of messed the flow up this morning. My bad. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. That just shows the world that holy shit, my cam's off now.
All right, we get the wide shot for now.
All right, so we are talking about Barbie the movie. I actually went out and saw it on Monday, and the only reason really is because it's been trending. It's been a hot topic, and it's been a controversial topic. Like, I've seen a lot of people going back and forth on it, and it's all the usual suspects saying the usual things when a movie like this comes out, and it's weird how everything kind of falls along political lines. Like, if this group of people loves a movie, then this other group of people is going to hate the movie, and vice versa. And that's kind of why this movie kind of got my attention. Mm-hmm. Because the stuff that people were saying about it, like they were like, "Oh, this is ultra feminist. This is too woke. This is against men. It's man hating, and it teaches girls that men ain't shit." And I've been hearing all these things, and I'm just like, who are the people that are saying this? Like, do y'all not know what Barbie is? What Barbie has always been? Yeah. Like, Barbie is the original woke. Barbie has been Barbie forever, and the movie was accurately portraying what the toy actually is. Yeah. I mean, it's always been feminist. It's always been this thing that has told girls that they could be anything they want, and that's kind of what the movie was, you know? Right. And I'm just like, okay, this isn't new. This is in character, so I'm cool with it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be the first to say, this movie, if you're a 45-year-old dude, it's not for you. Okay? I do not recommend it to you.
Definitely.
What I will say, though,
if you're 25,
yeah, no,
still not for you.
Definitely not for you. But if your wife or girlfriend wants to do a movie night and she picks this movie and you're thinking you're about to sit through 3 hours of hell, you can relax because it's actually pretty entertaining.
And it's only an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not a very long movie. So
2 hours ahead.
It'll be okay. I mean, I'll put it like this: if I had to watch a chick flick, I would say, hey, let's watch Barbie, because I'm not a chick flick guy. So right. You know, I need some entertainment, I need some comedy, or I need blood. That's how my movie viewing goes.
Right.
And I know that you guys, you know, haven't seen it, so I don't want to tell too much and spoil it because there may be people watching that do.
That's their fault. That's their fault.
Yeah, we're talking about. Who cares?
I actually attempted to watch it last night due to the fact that we were going to speak about it, and the little bit that I saw, I do understand where people that say things like, you know, oh, they must hate men, or it's against men. Mm-hmm. I could see how somebody could interpret it that way. But like you said, it has to be somebody that doesn't know the history. What I saw was just basically, I guess they had different Barbie figures doing different things, and they just showed them in real life doing those things. Well, you know, because I only saw the beginning. Mm-hmm. But when I saw women taking out the trash, like being the actual trash person, like there were no men in the movie until I think they went to the club. And I fell asleep, man. It just felt like it was against a man law for me to watch Barbie. But my daughter watched it. Shout out to Tanaya. Oh, her birthday was this week, too. She just turned 18. Mm-hmm. And she actually told me it was good. That's what she said when I was texting her. She's like, it's good.
The premise of it sounded good to me. I haven't watched it yet, but the premise sounded good. You know, the way I understand it is that you got this Barbie world that is like a fantasy and everything's great, and then all of a sudden they get thrown into the real world as we know it.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, and then there's that stark contrast there, you know. And so that's an interesting thing to talk about because, you know, when I first heard of Barbie, I was immediately thinking it's going to be like some kind of a Disney-like, whatever, Mattel, I don't know if the hell makes it, but, you know, some kind of a Disney weird, goofy-ass child kid show thing where...
Animated or something.
Yeah, like I'm like, I'm not going to watch that shit. But then when I read about it, I was like, okay, it's kind of got a pretty good storyline. I mean... You know, because we're all intrigued, I think as humans, we're all intrigued with what would life be like if we didn't have any hardships. And then what this does is I think it gives us a reversal aspect because we're like, well, what if you didn't have any hardships and life was great and then you got thrown in the middle of all this real world shit as we know it? How would you fare, so to speak? You know, would you break? You know, what would happen, you know, to you? And I think that's the part about this particular movie that intrigues me, that has made me want to watch it now, because I enjoy seeing those contrasts. Yeah. You know, it stokes my imagination.
I want to see it now.
Yeah, you know, and that was actually a pretty cool element. Like in Barbie's world, there's all the different Barbies. There's the astronaut Barbie, there's Dr. Barbie, there's a white Barbie, black Barbie, fat Barbie, president Barbie. And
I'll take a mix somewhere in there, you know.
yeah, and the Kens are like Barbie's boyfriend, and he ain't shit. Like the guys are like nothing because that's kind of how it is with toys. Yeah,
you know why?
Why?
Because they made him without a dick.
Exactly.
He ain't got nothing. I'm like, wait a minute.
Exactly.
Is
He
this
has
a man
no
doll?
balls.
Yeah.
So all the Kens live in this Barbie world where everything's pink and Barbie runs everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, when they go to the real world, Barbie is like crushed by the fact that women don't run everything in the real world, that the guys run everything. And Ken, he actually gets empowered seeing guys in charge for once in his life. So he goes back to Barbie world and the dudes take over. All the Kens start taking over.
Which is basically what the opposite of our traditional world. The men have ran everything forever, and I guess it was great at one time. And now you see women becoming more empowered and I guess wanting to take over.
Well,
if that's the correct terminology to use.
Yeah, but one thing I want to say that I'm sure you'll have a good comment on. What it implies is women run a better world. So,
well, women ran a better world for women. Like the Kens were completely ignored and treated like shit.
That's why I said. That's why I said what I said.
I wonder if women would actually run it that way if they could right now.
I think a lot of people would. That's what it's showing you, that it's showing the opposite of the way men ran the world, and it was perfect to men, but it wasn't perfect for women. You can look at movies like The Color Purple. There's a lot of movies where women at the early 1900s in America were like property, even after slavery. I'm talking about actual wives and this. And so you're seeing the same thing in the opposite form. Like he just said, it was great for women, but it wasn't necessarily the same way with our world. Our world at one point in time was great for particular men, but it wasn't great for everyone.
Right.
And now you see all of these different, I'm going to say, groups wanting to become, empowered. And we do have to ask, and that's what I think those that have the power, that's what they're more afraid of other people getting power, is if they get the power, will they treat us the way we treat them?
Right.
That's what it's all about, I think, in today's world, keeping people down.
And I think that was the real message of the movie, was like, okay, Barbie has all the power now, and as soon as Ken got power, they took over. And I think that was kind of a message to groups that may feel oppressed, that may feel like they're I don't know, I guess they say protected class or whatever, that if you ever come to power, if you ever become this, you can go to this point where it goes too far, and now you're treating people the way you were treated. And that's kind of what was happening in the movie. At the end, it all balanced out, and the Barbies kind of took over, but they learned to respect Ken more and, try to make a better world for everybody.
Right.
And I kind of felt like, okay, that's actually a pretty good message. It's not any of the things that a lot of the people have been saying it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's been getting really good reviews, and it's been overall, I think, once people go out and watch it and they see that it really isn't the thing that you think it's going to be, it's actually not bad. And what I will say is that as a guy, I'm kind of jealous because the girls actually got a good movie that reflects one of their childhood toys, and it's accurate to the toys. And we keep getting bullshit like the Transformers. Like, those movies are garbage, dude. I know you said you've never seen any. Have you ever watched any of the live-action Transformers movies?
Well, I think I've seen Transformers, the first one that came out, but I don't remember it much because I don't really watch. I really don't even watch TV much,
right?
But well, shit, I don't know. I guess I didn't really even play with Transformers though. They're always just block toys to me that moved around. But you're like really in that shit. So maybe you can tell us how it's not accurate.
Optimus Prime. That's all I remember. I had the truck.
Yeah.
Opened up. Yeah, I tear all my toys up. We like to throw them. Like we want to make everything fly.
I do remember Optimus Prime. I remember Bumblebee.
Mm-hmm.
I remember all that shit. I can't remember the others though.
Megatron was great. I want a new Megatron because nowadays, oh yeah, just to cut back to Barbie real quick. This movie's not for little girls, by the way. This movie is for grown women who owned Barbies when they were little girls.
Right.
That's who their target audience is.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. To stay on the topic of Barbie, I wanted to talk about then versus now, because with our show being our generation, and how you perceived Barbie then as a child. Because to me, Barbie as a child, like I don't remember. I'm not going to say, but I don't think my sister played with Barbies. We had dolls, but I don't remember her having Barbies, and I could be wrong. She probably did, but I remember the Cabbage Patch doll, and I didn't know that they had. I know now in the present years, but when we were young, we had a conversation. I didn't know they had black Barbie dolls, and that's mostly what we played with in our childhood. Dolls that look like us, and I didn't even know that. So seeing Barbie like in the movie was like way different. The little bit I saw. Because I saw all those different, I guess you could say Barbies.
Yeah.
And I didn't know they had that many. Damn, they had a lot. They got a Barbie for every damn thing.
Yeah.
We didn't have it like that as boys. Like, you didn't have a action figure for, the action figure did just what he did on television. That was it. You had a Michelangelo. You had a G.I. Joe. You didn't have a G.I. Joe that went to church, that was a mailman, that was like, golly, I see why they lasted so long.
Yeah.
I understand why they lasted so long.
Because, they had a variety. And, that was kind of what they were for was, so girls could play with them and kind of see that, hey, you can be anything you want to be because you have all these Barbies that are all these different careers, all these different styles. And Barbie has like all these different accessories. Like she has a dream house, a beach house, a Ferrari, a Corvette, a private airplane.
Barbie's high maintenance.
And poor Ken, they couldn't even give him a dick. So, I mean, basically, Ken is just an accessory for Barbie.
I wouldn't have had a girl doll when I was a child because I would have had them doing bad stuff. I know I would have. If I had a girl doll and a boy doll, I don't care what it was, I would have definitely for sure made them have sex. I'm being honest. Like, I, as a young child, I was just managed. And like, I would have never done it, but if I would have had access, that's the first thing I'm going to do. We're playing house.
Is that why Barbie was always twice the size of G.I. Joe? Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah,
like,
probably so. I don't
G.I. Joe was like that, and then Barbie's like this.
When our parents were young, they had big G.I. Joe figures. Like our dads.
Oh, yeah?
My dad's, I never saw it, but yeah, he always said they had the big ones. So maybe they switched it in the 80s.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, I never saw one, but I saw a big Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe figure.
Oh yeah, I remember that
one time, but never the one. You're right. The ones we had were always small.
It's funny we're talking about like our childhood, but I was looking it up. Barbie started in 1959.
I know it was a long time ago.
They've been around forever, and the first Barbie. I'll show you guys a picture. First Barbie was this interesting looking. I mean, she looks different now then, but it's like this striped. See?
Oh, wow.
Here, I'll show.
It looks like Woodstock.
Can you see? Here, I'll put it in this camera.
Yeah.
Landon. Can you see what that looks like?
I don't think it's showing.
Oh, it ain't?
No,
not in the camera's too bright. Yeah. All he's doing is blocking me again.
I'm sorry.
He's been trying to block me.
I ain't trying. I know. I don't know how this shit works.
Next I'll be.
I know.
I'll be under the table. I'm on my way out.
Cut it off.
But there's something else too that was kind of touched on in this movie is that the movie actually made some kind of honest and fair criticisms of itself, because there was a young girl. Like when Barbie goes into the real world and she thinks that all the girls are going to be happy to see her. And this young girl was like, no, I hate Barbie. You know why? Because you're too perfect. You have the perfect figure. You have all this money. You have all these things that real people can never really attain. And it gives girls this, I don't know, it creates depression for some girls.
Yeah, that's called hatred.
Yeah,
That's called hate. We call it hate in our community. It brought out the haters.
Yeah.
No, the movie definitely, from what I've seen, the little bit I saw and what you talk about, it's definitely a reenactment of life, I'm going to say, in this country. And I think that sometimes you have to show it that way for other people to receive it. If you tell the male race that's in the power that, they're depriving or they're manipulating or they're holding back women, most people are not going to listen to it. But if you see it from the opposite standpoint, you're gonna have more compassion to it. Because as a man, you can look and say, "Oh man, that's fucked up. Look how they doing us. Oh, they don't like men." And then you can go back and say, "Well, this is what we've done in America for years." You know what I mean? And think about what he just said. Barbie started in 1959. So think about where America was when Barbie. I'm sorry, I said Bobby. See, now they're going to become against women. Barbie can be a male or a female. Anyway.
The hell with you.
When Barbie came out in 1959, just think about where we were in the United States. Think about where women, that's before Woodstock and all that burning in bras and shit. Yeah. So think about even the message that you see in Barbie today on the movie. That was probably not her the original message when it came out. I don't know. She had a swimsuit on, so she didn't look like she was at the house cooking. But.
Yeah. But my guess is her first occupation was housewife.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, do we have a Barbie housewife doll?
Well, that's what I was looking for. It's funny though. I was looking up Barbie, and there's a word called kinpathy. Like
Kinpathy.
Sympathy for me. Yeah, kinpathy.
Yeah.
But I hate to say this. I'm not a hater, but to me, Ryan Gosling is such a douchey looking motherfucker. When I see him,
I think that's why they made him Ken.
You think so?
Yeah.
But women love this guy. I'm like, and I'm not.
Yeah,
if I could see a nice looking guy,
you're definitely hating.
I am, but I don't get it.
You're not supposed to. If you do, then that means you would have to like men.
Yeah, that's true.
If you say, "Oh man, he looks nice," I see what women like him.
No, it's more like to me. Well, to me, I've been in line producing for movies, and so I've helped with the casting side of things. And I started thinking about it from a business standpoint. I'd be, okay, who would that? To me, Ken is more like a Rob Lowe look. When you look at the Ken dolls, you got the square jaw and shit like that. Like that's Ken.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Ryan Gosling looks like a Backstreet Boy.
Hey man, they were gonna have a white guy play Shaka Zulu, so things changed.
Yeah, I think they were going for that look for Ken though.
Yeah,
I mean, some things you just can't negotiate.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Some
For the
things.
world, that's the thing. Like his point of view is like things are changing, and that's what they're showing. Like what you expect things to be. If you were born in the 70s, they're not gonna be that in 2023. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way. That's the way of the world, and I think that's part of. Like you ask your daughter, or somebody, they say, "Oh no, I think that was great." It's just not for us, or we have to either change, or we either have to change, or we have to just sit back and accept it and say, "This ain't for us."
Yeah,
yeah. And at the end of the day, that's probably what it is. I kind of feel like, it's a good movie for women. And we can leave it at that, really. I mean, for us, and it is what it is. Like I said, I don't recommend it to any.
We can't leave it at that, man. We got too much more time to talk. We got to leave. We got to say some more stuff, man.
No. I mean,
just cracking.
It's interesting. No, I'm just, I'm Googling, looking this shit up, and just what people think, and it's interesting.
We need some people to call in.
But it's interesting to see this whole Barbie thing. I get it. I mean, I get it. It's an interesting message, about the radical differences between a woman's world be like into this, what we call the modern world. Does that represent a man's world? And then you got to ask yourself, I'd love to hear Jab.
This is a man's world.
Is it a man's world?
But it wouldn't be nothing without it. Of course it's a man's world.
So when a woman says no, it ain't, what do you say to that?
I mean, she can have her opinion, but if you look at who's leading, if you look at infrastructure, everything that's built, it's definitely a man's world. It's not a black man's world, that's for sure. It's a white man's world. It's a white European man's world. From everything, the rules, from the way, the leadership, the power. Now, when I say their world, I mean the people who lead, who call the shots, who control everything. Now, as far as in your mind, are you accepting that? No, women probably say no. Does it mean you can't be all you can be in this world? No. There's definitely. I mean, just look. Look at television. Look at you know what I mean. Look at everything.
Yeah.
And what you see now is you see new groups. Just like if we went back to the 50s or the 60s, what you saw with civil rights.
Yeah.
Which at the time, civil rights were black people in America. That's what we were called at that time, the Negro or whatever. Martin Luther King days, those days. And you saw these people fighting for these rights. What you see today is you see these same people that are descendants of those black people. We're getting to the point in 2023 where people are starting, really before now, maybe 5 years ago, people are starting to recognize, like, you know what? That is bad that is bad the way they were treating. But what you've done is now you have several more groups of people. You have women, you have Hispanics, you have the LBG, that community. You have even children that are now attaching on to civil rights. And so you have a bunch of people saying, not just one group saying, hey, this isn't right. You have 6, 7, 8 groups, and every day there's a new group saying, hey, so that's going to weaken the power of the man or the white man or the whatever, whoever it is that's in control, because you have so many other groups doing the same thing. And I think that's what you're seeing now. And as far as movies like this. So no, if a woman said, no, it's not, it's a woman's world. Well, all I would do is say, well, prove it. I never say somebody's necessarily wrong when it's an opinion, but support your opinion is all I say. And if you go and let's say we had a debate, I could provide more evidence that it's definitely a man's world. Like, who's building the highways? Who's building everything?
Yeah.
Men.
Yeah.
Not women. If women were not here, this economy could still go. If men weren't here, we wouldn't have an economy. Now, can I say we wouldn't be able to reproduce and all that? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Without men and women both, at some point we're going to die.
Well, of course.
But when you say that
extinct.
When you say that men build the roads, when men build the buildings or whatever, is that because for all this time we've been telling women that they can't do that they can't have those kind of jobs?
But I'm going to say maybe that could be it. But the thing is, if it's your world, nobody can tell you what you can't do. Right. So even if what you're saying is, let's say yes, let's say I agree with you and say, yeah, that's the reason why.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's the reason why. It still proves it. It's a man's
world.
He
made his point on that way.
Because in your world, you don't have to ask nobody for shit. You don't have to ask a person for anything.
Okay,
I guess when your car breaks down,
Mike's like, okay, good point.
Hey, when your car breaks down, who do you take it to? Yeah, you might not need a husband, or you may not need a boyfriend. That because a lot of times that's an argument. Oh, I don't need a man. And when people say, and men might say it about women too, but when we say these things or when they say these things, they mean maybe in their house.
Yeah.
But you definitely need a man somewhere. I don't care if it's your dad. I don't care if it's the dude you're fucking, or you just took it into a shop and said, hey, something's wrong with my car. I don't see too many women in those mechanic shops.
Nah, and it's
definitely a man's world.
And I know women who are talented when it comes to cars that work on their own cars.
I'm not saying that it's not. But they go when they need an engine pulled, they're not doing it. They can't even pick one up. Now I know they got machines and all, but from the beginning of time,
well, it's interesting because
they didn't do that.
No, you're right, and I think because as a man, we're dominant. Yeah. We are. We're bigger, stronger, and the point there, and I'll say this, and I don't want to hear your thoughts, but the one point I'll make is when you have the what do you call them? When you have the transgender that whenever it was when it was a man, I'm getting confused.
Yo, he's back here.
No, I'm just trying to get it right. This is not an insult. I'm trying to get it right. When it's the man, which one is it called? When it's the man, biologically it turns into a woman.
That's a trans woman.
Trans woman. Trans into one. Okay, trans woman. I just get it confused.
Yeah, don't worry.
So when you're a trans woman,
I like the term you use.
Yeah. Well, no.
We're not.
No.
That's what he said.
So
we don't want to get canceled.
No, I didn't say it. But
Barbie.
But back to what I was going to say. When you're a trans woman, you can go into a woman's world in sports and compete. But how many women that turn into guys, the trans man, go into men's sports and win?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
How often does that happen? Has it ever happened?
I think there was one, but you
like chess?
No.
I mean, you're like, what, you know?
No, I forget. It was actually something athletic, and it was a transgender male that won one competition, but at the same time, he was loaded up to the gills on steroids, too, because he had to be, you know, just because of the transition.
Well, the only point I'm making is not to question can people play in other sports. It's more about why it's a man's world, because I think the man is a dominant species. When you look at animals, like lions and shit, right? I mean, it's the male.
That is not entirely true.
Well, let me finish my point.
Okay, but carry on.
Well, no, when you look at a lion's pride, it is the male that's dominant. Period. Yeah. It doesn't mean the females don't do the work and hunt and all that. I get it. Mm-hmm. They're bad little bitches.
And there is a female that could probably whoop a particular male, but overall, she's not going to whoop the male leads.
And let me tell you, I watched a video the other day when a pack of hyenas attacked like 2 or 3 of these like female lions, and they were getting killed. But that one male walked in, those hyenas just darted off like crazy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, it's true. I would tell you something else. That
Did you know that the females actually lead the hyena packs?
Yeah, they do.
They might, but they're not. But leadership and dominance.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, they lead, but this is the thing. Y'all are getting into animals. We're talking about a man and a woman. Animals do not have the mental capacity that we have. An animal can only do what nature tells it to do. Basically, if you believe in God, if you believe in the universe, if you believe in any higher power, an animal can only do what that higher power intended for it to do. Human beings can go against that. They can go against nature. That's why a woman who's naturally a woman can become a man. So both of you all could be right, but when we're comparing, is this a man's world to a woman's world, we can use animals, but then again, we can't, because think if you could only do say your nature was to go to work, you were created just to go to work, go to sleep, eat, make babies, and that's all you could do, then you would do it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because that's all you could do.
Yep.
So then there could be no debate because that's all you can do.
Right.
But when we talk about, is this a man's world? People have killed other men that they were not supposed to kill.
Right.
Raped and beat up women that they were not supposed to. Stolen things.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
cognitive.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can't compare them, because even if you're right and the woman does lead, or even if you're right and the male hyena is more dominant or whatever, it still has nothing to do with us as humans, because we can go against our nature. They can't.
It's true. That is true.
Yeah, we absolutely can, and we absolutely have.
Yeah, we definitely have.
In a lot of ways.
But I do want to throw something out there.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about, you know how mean hyenas are? Mm-hmm. Where they ran by?
I thought they were laughing.
No, yeah, they do, but they laugh and they're mean. Who runs them?
The women.
The black widow kills its mate. Wait, who runs the black widows?
The women.
Shit! What are we catching here?
Yep. I was going to say
the queen bees.
Queen bee. Look, listen. I see a theme in nature.
Yeah.
Bitches be crazy.
This is what else I wanted to. I wanted to talk about when I was talking about the boxing, and it kind of goes along with this. There's a female boxer. Her name is Clarissa Shields, and she's pretty tough. She's all right. You know, she's a champion, whatever. She wants to fight Keith Thurman. Now, I haven't actually seen this like on the boxing commission thing or anything, but I think it's some truth to it because it's all over social media. And this is a woman, not a transgender or none of that.
Woman.
A straight up woman and a straight up man who's like on the decline in his career, and she's like on the rise.
What do they weigh?
I can't. They weigh the same. I want to say 145 or 130. I can't remember the weight exactly, but they're going to be the same weight.
Okay.
And she wants to fight him. And I say, as a man, this is the worst thing he could ever do. If he does this, you're going to lose either way. If you beat her up, you're going to look like shit. And if you get your ass beat, you're going to look like shit. And so but what I was about to say is, in our day or when we were younger, you would never see anything like that.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So the world is definitely...
It's fucking crazy, man. I mean, I'm not trying to... It's just
changing.
crazy.
Yeah,
it's like,
it is.
It's not... it's crazy because you're saying something now, opening up a different way of thinking, ideology.
Yeah.
We're saying that I guess it is okay that a man can fight a woman as long as it's strategic or put together or
I
planned.
guess so. Because I know if you were
If
to
they
go
agree
hit your
to
girlfriend, if your girlfriend was to hit you
Yeah.
and you were to hit her, everyone's going to say you're wrong for hitting a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
It's just, so it's like I think people want to be equal now, but they want to be equal when it's convenient.
And you can't even compare.
When it's convenient.
Even a 145-pound woman versus a 145-pound man, there's a bone density difference.
Oh yeah,
There's
everything is different. It's not the same.
Fat percentage, everything.
All of it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All her weight is in. You go watch that girl's hips. Well, there's some weight in her hips.
Right.
And he's lighter there. And he's up here,
No,
bigger.
he's just. It's crazy. I wouldn't do it. Fucking.
It is.
But I mean, how much you getting paid though? Hold up.
They're gonna probably get paid. It's probably something that's in her favor.
Mike, would you fight a woman for $5 million?
$5 million.
Yeah.
I whoop a woman's ass for $5
Fucking
million.
Mike don't give a damn.
Yeah, that's like me with Tyson. I would too, but I'm just saying that this is not transgender or anything. So next you'll see women playing football. Like everybody now wants to be equal. So when people say we want to be equal, that's what it's gonna be.
And some women, and I don't mean this against all women, but I've known the women that grew up playing football and things, and it's cool, but it's like they had something to prove.
Right.
It's like, what are you proving? That you're strong, you're tough, that you can handle a man? That's great, but you really can't. It's a farce.
Yeah,
you can handle high school football with little kids is one thing.
Now you have a separate locker room for her.
Yeah.
You can't do this to her.
Well, what if the girl just thinks football is fun and she wants to play? I mean, there's that too.
What if?
They shouldn't just be stuck in the lingerie league.
No.
You know?
Well, because I think, here's the reason. Because it's okay to have division.
Right.
It's okay. Right. It's okay to separate the sexes and say, hey, this is a man's sport. It's okay to have women's football.
Right.
If they really care that much about it, they can all rally together, create
their own league. Yeah, but not, you're exactly right.
Right, but instinctively, the reason combat sports / like basketball, physical sports, football, and again, I mean, we're getting kind of Barbie world, but I think it ties together. It's like, why do those sports not get the viewership? Because it's not what we consider real combat. And I know it sounds horrible, and a woman hear that. It's not instinctively.
It's
nice.
Even the women don't watch it.
Right.
The women themselves don't watch. They talk shit about the girls.
Yeah.
We're talking about like basketball and football, those type of sports. But
combat,
okay, when it comes to combat sports, I watch women's MMA.
We all watch it.
I love Amanda Nunes. She recently retired. I don't know who's gonna.
Yeah, but does she get the glory for being like a John Jones?
No.
Like, who's the top prime guy? If you had to put one guy in the ring with every man, pound for pound, no matter if you weighed, but back in the old days, UFC, where there's no holds bar, weight class didn't matter. If you had to pick one guy in all of USA to throw in the ring and he'd almost win every fight, no matter what the weight, who would it be?
I'd say John Jones.
Right.
Right now, John Jones.
Well, hear me out though. But what that does to us as humans, as our species, we see that strong warrior gladiator. That's in us. It's in us, even if we're not one, to want to support that, to rally that. That's why the Colosseum and Roman Colosseum was so large. That's why we have these mega fucking arenas where we watch football games, because we want to see combat. When women do it, it's not that it's not fun to watch and it's cool and we respect it, but it's not what we consider real war. It's like, okay, that's cute.
It's soft. Yeah.
Let's get the men in there now because we want to see some blood and battle.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean it against women. I'm not saying that women can't do it or shouldn't do it. What I'm saying is it goes back into the male dominance, yada, yada. I mean, it just is what it is.
Most don't even want to do the stuff that it's more like this. Like I said, people have civil rights, and now that people are starting to get a little real attention, you know, when they start discussing reparations and all these different things, you have all these groups that are coming to where if there's ever any type of money, if there's ever any type of anything which is like a reward or payoff or whatever you were fighting for and you finally get it, it's going to apply to so many. It's like, what's that stuff? Affirmative action. People fought hard for affirmative action. And when they finally gave it to us, it was for minorities. And then you have all of these people who fall under the minority So the original people who were fighting for it really don't get shit.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And at the end of the day, it was used
now-
as a tool to take advantage of minorities.
Yeah, if you believe that, I say yeah.
I mean, yeah, affirmative action is great. More people can go to college, but what it ended up happening to a lot of people is that they went to college, they put themselves in a lot of debt, and still didn't get good jobs.
Yeah, that's just one thing. That's not just what affirmative action is for. Okay, let's say you're this race and you fought for have equal rights. They come up with affirmative action, and it says, okay, he has to have at least 30% of his staff has to be minority. But you were fighting for it as a black man to get it because black people were being deprived. Well, once they say minority and you have women that are minorities, so he can still hire a white woman, which means you don't get shit. And now you got this new community coming up saying, well, we're this, we're that. They're minorities. So you fought hard, right. And it's still, you never have to get a job. You never have to get a scholarship. You never have to nothing. That's what you're seeing today. And all of these new groups are just coming saying, yeah, well, I'm this too. And they all have a good point. Women have a good point. Women can say now, well, we're equal. We want to be equal. We want to be treated equal as men. We want to have the same jobs. We want to be able to get in the boxing ring. We want to be able to get in the football arena with the men because we want to be treated equal.
But it's not equal.
But then
I'm saying that's what they can say now, and
we can't bear children. We can't raise kids the same way. We can't fucking wear makeup the same way. I mean, there's not equality all the time. It's like we just have to submit to this reality that in life, certain genders, there is a certain type of segregation in certain places that it just specifically with gender roles, that is what it is.
Well, according to Barbie and according to what's going on today, your way is wrong, man. You're going to have to change it. If not, you're going to be pissed off every day.
But it's like, I'm not.
No, I agree with you. I'm just saying, it's a new day.
But I don't mind them trying. Like, it doesn't bother me. A woman wants to try to play football, okay, fine. One wants to go jump in a ring with a man, okay, fine. I mean, if you ask my opinion, what we're talking about, I'll give it.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and I have to go back to something that I often hear Jordan Peterson say, and I know I'm about to get some shit for quoting Jordan Peterson here, but there's a difference between equal opportunity and equal outcome.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves equal opportunity to achieve whatever they can achieve. But the outcomes aren't always going to be equal. It's going to be based on what that individual is capable of doing. And sometimes if we try to go out of our way to change things to make the outcomes equal, you can't do that without taking away from some people. And I feel like that's why there's always a lot of pushback. There's always a lot of pushback when people call for equality, because we've gotten to the point where in a lot of cases, that's what that means. Equal opportunity is what we should really be striving for at all times, is that everyone has the same chances to achieve whatever they can possibly achieve. But
that's
changing all the rules to ensure that someone maybe who isn't as strong or isn't as capable gets the same results as someone who was stronger or more skilled or more capable, that's when things get a little bit wonky, I think.
Well, yeah.
That saying sounds good, but it's like nobody is going to have an equal opportunity unless you do. Only thing that you can say is equal is if you put in the equal work. Like if I'm only using him because he's across from me. If JB is in this position and I say, well, I didn't have that opportunity. It's not. I want equal opportunity, so I want to be given everything he was given. But what if what he was given was because of choices or things that he did? Like it's just not possible that everybody's going to have the same equal opportunity. It's no way. Like that would have to. Your household would have to be the same. I don't know. To me, it's just too many different factors that go into it to.
I think that step one to getting to a point where there's at least more equal opportunity is doing something about education, because there's a lot of people who've went to really shit schools that simply don't have a chance to be anything in life.
That's true.
I didn't even go to school.
Yeah. You got to get outside. That's on the
You see my point, though?
Right.
I didn't even go.
Yeah. You went to a good.
No, I went to
you
Crowley.
That was a good school back when we went. That was like one of the top schools in the
It was,
nation.
but I graduated.
state.
But I graduated with a 2.3.
That doesn't mean a lot.
I didn't learn.
That's good.
A 2.3 at Crowley
Was good.
is
That's like
better than a valedictorian at some schools.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Well, especially when we went, we got that school was number one. I know because
but I
that's why went
want
there.
to. But I didn't make myself. I didn't make anything of myself because of Crowley. Like no, what I'm saying is like all my connections of where I went in life. Crowley, it's education. Now this is being true.
Yeah.
I'm not dissing on education. What I'm saying is I completely leveraged assets out in the world because it's the way I'm wired. I keep telling you guys that it's a wiring.
It's a wiring, bro, but it has a lot. Bro, you wouldn't have been like that raised in the hood. If you've been raised in the hood, you wouldn't. It's a difference. Your way of thinking, even mine, I know. Your way of thinking is because of the people you were around, the things you saw, and so it made you that way. I mean, you had your own drive, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, oh, Crowley taught you something that makes you a millionaire. Hell no. Most millionaires don't have education like that. They have drive and hard work.
Right.
But it's just opportunities, even like just things you saw.
Yeah.
You saw nice things growing up. Like the neighborhood, it may not be that now, but when they were building all those new houses back there, we drove past them every day to go to school.
Yeah.
Just think about what that does. You see people own acres and acres of land full of cattle. Just think about the way that changes your way of thinking compared to a person that's looking at winos on the street every day. And the teachers that are there are just there.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think definitely
it makes a big difference.
Bro. I definitely think culture and where you're raised and what you're around has a lot to do with it. But what I'm specifically talking about is education. You know, and when I'm talking academic, you know, not necessarily mentorship, and I'm talking academic. So what I mean by that, and I think I won't get too spinned on this, but just talking about it from number one, if you're wired a certain way, if you're wired as a leader, you're ambitious, even if you don't have the culture to know what to do with it. Like you got a fighting mentality. You're born and wired like a fighter. I know you are. I know you for a long time. I remember. You're just that way.
Yeah.
And you got into it. You got into it professionally. You know, you trained. You got into it. But people that aren't always sophisticated, let's say as you are, still fight. They just don't do it in a trained method. Right. You know, they do it in a sloppy whatever.
Or because of the environment that they're in.
Right, but
that's what I was saying about you. But
see, you're
right.
wired that way.
Yeah, but I could be wired that way and be leading the gang or be teaching my homeboys how to fight on the street so we can go whoop motherfuckers and rob them.
But as we
it's still to me is the environment.
I agree.
And so I agree with Mike on the education only because I'm around people that are not educated. I just listen to the way you talk. The way you speak is going to, when somebody's speaking improper English and they say stuff like, I don't know, I don't even want to say, but incorrect just grammar. That's going to affect even when you go to talk to somebody about business and you talk and you say stuff like mans instead of men. Not because, I mean, just think about it.
I know what you mean.
Think about you listening to somebody talking like, yeah, these mans over here, but you get what I'm saying? Like just little stuff.
I know exactly what you're saying.
It makes a big difference, man. And if people will even give you a chance. So you go apply for a loan and you're talking to the lady and you don't even know to dress like this.
No, I agree.
You get what I'm saying? There's things we were taught in school that I'm telling you people were not taught. Just simple shit, man. Like not even how to, we learned how to fill out checks. My father didn't know how to fill out a check.
Yeah.
He was grown. My mom did. My dad didn't. I know he learned eventually, but at one point when I was young, my dad didn't, and I learned it in school. So think about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a kid, and I know how to do this because we were taught at school.
But that doesn't mean I hear you.
Makes a person that can't fill out a check goes and gets money orders, which means they pay an extra 75 cents or 50 cents.
And I agree with some basic foundation fundamentals. I agree with that. But I also have seen, me personally, actually have seen and known hood people that have grown up, you know, in areas where it's really bad. I mean, really, really bad, that have actually become very successful.
And I'm not saying that.
I know you're not.
And I know prostitutes that have gotten married to great men that take care of them, but that's not a likely thing to happen.
No.
Good men don't go out looking for prostitutes to turn into wives.
But what I'm saying,
I can guarantee you, I can find some women that were prostitutes on the streets, drug addicts, crackheads, and now they're living a great life.
I get you, but my point is you still have opportunity.
Doesn't mean we don't have a drug problem.
No, but you still have opportunity. Is my point. No matter, back to the point I was making, the opportunity still exists to better yourself, whether you're educated or not. Now, don't get me wrong. Statistically, you have challenges in the sense that you may never get out of that. You may never see the other side of it. I understand. But I'm saying the opportunity to pull yourself together and get to another realm. It doesn't always have to be mega success. You know, it can just be whatever level of success gets you out of a situation that you feel like you're not successful is the point I'm making.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, but what he said originally was that we had to change what?
We have to change the system, the education system. Because,
and that I agree.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You can make it. Anybody can defy odds and make it in spite of. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that we don't. Like I use the example of a crackhead prostitute. There's a crackhead prostitute that could find a good husband and go on. But that's not something that we need to change this. We don't need people out living this way. But yeah, I agree. You can defy all odds. I know plenty of people that do. But if they had a better education at a young age, not even just in school education, just about life, like you say, opportunities.
Yeah.
If you grew up in the hood, you had to get outside the hood to be successful. Whether you met someone outside, there's no way inside the hood, amongst all hood people that are down, you're just going to rise above and be successful without something extraordinary happening outside of that.
Yeah, and when I talk about education, like you said, you graduated with a 2.3. That's not even really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who graduated and still don't know how to read.
Yep.
Because that's a thing. I mean,
like fundamentals.
Yeah, there are people who aren't even getting the basics.
And that's what I was talking about. When you hear people speak, you know they don't have the basics just by the way they talk.
You're right. And what I say to that then, instead of using the word education, I don't think it starts with education. I think it starts with outreach. I think the problem is a lot of these kids, let's just say, for example, that can't read or write, it's because where they're coming from that gets them motivated and spirited to even want to learn. And there needs to be an outreach to the leaders and adults and elders in those kids' lives, because you can send them to school all damn day long all you want. They can go through the motion of sitting at their desk and still not learn shit.
That's true. But if you'd have to actually, some things you can't understand unless you're in it. And it's the school, bro. Believe you me, I know, because I work in them and I volunteered in them. And unless you go, you will never understand from your point of view. You'll say things like that. But how are you going to get an outreach and you can't even get a teacher, a system? Why does this school have these textbooks, these type of teachers, these type of things, and this school has something totally different? That has nothing to do with the only thing it has to do with money and the taxes.
But you're talking about the level of education. What I'm talking about is
kindergarten is kindergarten. No, first grade is first grade.
Yeah, but my point though is every school should be able to teach reading and writing.
But many don't. You see what you said? You said should.
Well, I can't imagine any school on this planet that doesn't teach reading and writing.
Man, they may have a subject.
They don't teach it successfully.
They don't. They may have the class, but if you go look, and that's my point. You see what you just said? I can't even imagine. You can't imagine something that's 10 miles from where we are right now that I've seen, that I know, and you can't even fathom it. When you say, "Man, I can't imagine that," that's our point. You're not going to understand.
But I don't think
not that you're wrong.
No.
Not that you're wrong, but you're never going to understand just by what you're saying. I could get 20 people on this show right now that'll say, "No, he's right." I could even get teachers that'll say, "Yeah, he's right."
Yeah,
They're failing our kids.
But what if those kids' parents or family or unity or leadership, wherever they go, was really involved in their education?
Yeah.
They would make certain that wherever the hell they go, they're educated.
I agree that's a possibility.
My point, though,
but if they're lost too, go ahead. They're lost too.
Yeah, but my point is it's not. I always feel we're talking about fundamental education. We're not talking about higher level, all this shit. There's another level of argument I agree with you guys on there. What you get, the quality, all that. What I'm talking about as a basis is I always feel like we hear, well, education, better schools, better systems. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing with that. What I'm saying, though, if I was looking at it which I have, and you're right. I don't have a lot of indoctrination in this community, but hear me out.
Yeah, no.
I really feel like if we had the ability to reach out to the leaders of that community, when I say leaders, I'm talking about wherever these children go. If they go to parents, they go to aunts and uncles, grandparents, best friends, whoever the hell whoever's looking after them. Mm-hmm. If those responsible parties were really indoctrinated, really engulfed into how important education is, and they believed it, and they said, you know what? I went to those schools. I don't read and write well. I don't speak well, but I want my child to have better because I had an outreach of XYZ. Jabari came in and he talked about our community, how important it is, and we look at him, we look up to him, and we're like, you know what? We want our kids to be like this, and those kids go to school. My point is, if they go to school ready and willing, and I know how kids are.
No, you're right. You're right. When you say if. Yeah, you're right.
That's my point.
Yeah,
that's why I think it's, when I say education, I think we're all on the same page. Education has to be better, but I don't think it gets better by just pounding the schools exclusively. I really think more of the weight needs to be shifted in the community, and there needs to be guys like you two that are upstanding citizens that are sophisticated, that know how to speak, read, and write really well. That should be a community outreach right there. Imagine if you talk.
I've done it. That's why I know.
Right. That's
my
point.
solution is to just, man, you got to try to get your money together and send your kids somewhere else. I didn't send my daughter to school in the community. Well, so she got a house because she wanted to go to Crowley, but I sent my daughter to a different school.
Because I
already know these schools ain't shit, and I don't have time. I can't go march and make them change the schools for my child.
Right.
No, I'm not gonna put my child to school over there.
And that's
really, I see a difference.
And that's really what it is. I think
that's
a
what
lot of
we
parents need to start looking into charter schools or private schools.
But then what we're doing is we're saying, what happens?
Eventually they're going to go down too. Eventually.
But what we're saying is, you're saying, and I know we're kind of running lean on time, but this is what you're saying. You're saying, fuck it, I'm taking my kids out of that community.
Heck yeah, ain't that what you did?
Me? I didn't.
You raised your kids where we grew up.
No, where we grew up. I didn't take them out of that community.
I mean, you got out of that community.
Well, yeah,
but you see my point. My point is,
no. But
you wouldn't have left them there. If you were in your parents' house, you wouldn't say, "Well, hey, I can stay here," and you're going to go somewhere better.
It depends. If I was in a position where I lived in that community, I'm not going to go to that community because I like to live in my community. Right. It's a nicer, bigger, better community.
You're right, with better schools and better things.
Sure. Well, but hold on. Right. But my point is if I lived in that community, if I lived in let's call it poverty or somewhere, I don't know what you would call it, lower middle class, however you want to word it. If I was there, I'd be making the best of it. I would be fucking there saying, hey, my kid's going to go to this school. I want to rally. I'm going to put together groups of other parents that are like me so we can find a way to keep our kids straight and narrow. Yeah. Is all I'm saying.
It's not. It don't work like that in these areas, bro. I know what you're saying.
I know it doesn't. That's why.
I'm saying. That's the point. That's why the schools don't care. That people don't. People, even if they care, they don't have the ability. That's why they live where they live. Think about it. But let's look at how you talk. If I live there, I'm not going to live there which means you don't want to live there. And so if you don't live there, the schools are definitely if the community's not livable for you, then the schools wouldn't be either. You wouldn't send your kids there. And that's what I'm saying. We have to change because it's not the children's fault of where their parents live and where they go to school. And the schools are failing the kids. And I'm not saying that the parents don't play a role. Hell yeah, they play a role. But the parents, if they're already fucked up too, the school still has the.
But the schools are challenged. The problem is the schools have lost power.
Yeah.
Because now we're getting a whole other topic we don't have time for.
Yeah, right.
But the schools have lost power to discipline and control the kids. Because what'll happen is even these fucking parents that don't have anything to do with their kids, as soon as you do something to their kid to make them mind, their asses will be up there pointing a finger at you, how bad you are and how shitty of a teacher you are. A whole other episode, I know.
Yeah, that can happen. No, I'm not.
But I'm saying
not with that.
That's a whole other thing we should talk about. We should write that one down when they talk about schools and education.
Yeah, we should talk about schools next week.
That's a good one.
Hey, we're going to get up. We're going to have to go.
Hey. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the comments. Sorry that we didn't get to reply to them all. I didn't see them until just now. But we will be back soon with another episode of the Gen X Talk podcast.